Moin and guten Tag. In this video I'll be showing you how to boss sticky dough with high hydration. Turning it from this
This dough is so sticky. Nose.
to this.
Nice, good looking dough.
So nice and smooth, this dough. And well, to get your appetite going a little bit, this is the end result that you will get at the end of this video. Now this is not an actual recipe, this is just steps that I do to deal with high hydration sticky dough. So let's get started. This dough has around 77% total hydration. The flour I'm using has around 15% protein. I fed the starter in the night and already mixed flour and water. Overall, I'm going to be using around 20% of sourdough starter in this dough. In fact, this is a rye starter. We Germans love rye. The rye is going to make it even stickier. I love an overnight autolyse because it allows me to start making the dough already directly in the morning. I also fed my starter with a 1:5:5 ratio in the evening. I like to do this especially when I have visitors the same day. This allows me to bake an amazing bread the same day. Anyways, I added the starter and the salt already and then kneaded for 3 minutes. Then I waited for 15 minutes. I bench kneaded for a few minutes and my dough became so incredibly sticky. Let me show you how to deal with it.
This dough is so sticky. So I've been bench kneading this dough and this dough is just overly sticky. The dough flattened out here on my surface, and now a great tool to have is a bench scraper. Using the bench scraper, I can first of all move the dough a little bit like this to the center. And now have a look. I'm trying to knead this, but it just starts to stick so much to the counter. And now what I recommend you to do is, I recommend you to just wait 5 minutes and then go back to this dough. Just let it sit 5 minutes and then we will continue kneading. We are back to this dough and let's have a look. It's still sticky. But now I'm going to be doing a couple of sets of bench kneading and then this dough will automatically come together. So I'm taking this dough, pulling this out. You see it sticks to my hand right now, right? That's totally okay. Gently fold this over. Go again to the left side. Gently fold this over. And this is already looking way better, right? Now, the dough scraper, or the bench scraper, no, dough scraper, is great because then you don't have leftover bits of dough here everywhere on the counter. That's why I like to use this tool. But you can also do this with your hands. One more time. I'm taking this side and I'm using the stickiness of the surface so that I can take the dough, take it out and fold it over. It sticks to the surface and that way I can pull the dough. One more time here to the right hand side and now fold this over. And have a look at how nice, round and smooth this dough already is. But we're not there yet. Now that my hands are already very sticky, it's only going to get worse. So I recommend you clean your hands just with a little bit of water. All right, with clean hands, I'm now going to use the dough scraper and I will rotate the dough over the surface. It's stuck again. So at a 45-degree angle, and the issue now was I wasn't quick enough. At a 45-degree angle, I will push, rotate, and then pull using the tension of the surface. You can also do this with your hands. But again, then you have issues here on the surface that some might stick to the surface. Again with the dough scraper. So 45-degree angle, and now it's already sticking less. 45-degree angle, push and pull. Push and pull. And now just have a look at how perfect this dough is. Already less sticky because the surface is under a lot of tension right now. You could overdo this step, then your dough would tear. So this is perfect. When your dough tears, just wait another 5 minutes and then try one more time again. Now, since this is a very wet dough, this dough is around 77% in hydration, I'm going to be doing another set of lamination just to provide additional strength. But yeah, this dough is already looking much better than before. And now with the dough scraper, go here, take your dough and gently lift it to the container. I like to use a pot for the start of the process, but then later on I will switch to a glass bowl. And 15 minutes, I'm always having trouble pronouncing 15 and 50. So 15 minutes later, I will do the lamination. Here is the dough. It flattened out a little bit. And now, since it's elastic dough, I'm going to be doing lamination, which is something that you don't have to do when you don't use this much water. But let me just show you how this goes. Again, the dough is very sticky. It sticks to the container, and I will show you just how to deal with it. With my watered hands, I'm going around the dough, removing it from the edges of the container. And now I can already feel the dough sticks less. And now with both hands, I take the dough and just place it like this on the kitchen counter. Now I'm spraying this out flat because I want to laminate it. This adds a lot of strength. It's pretty much the same thing as bench kneading. I'm going in here, going into the dough. If it starts to stick, water your hands again. Laying this out very flat, because then I have a big surface area and I can use that big surface area to make the dough stick to itself. And just have a look at this great gluten development already. Good looking dough. And one thing that I like to do is, I learned this when taking Apfelstrudel lessons, is good sign of gluten development. Normally there should be a nice big bubble, but nah. Okay, so anyways, I'm now taking, it starts to stick again. Watering my hands again one more time. I'm taking this dough and I'm lifting it with my hands and I'm folding this into the middle. And I pretty much glue the dough together like this. Now same thing from the other side. Glue it over. And this just adds so much incredible strength. Same thing from the other side. I like to use a 4-way fold croissant style. So this into the middle, this also into the middle, and now this outwards, and fold this over. Now is the moment where I extract a small fermentation probe. You can just bake this in the morning as an English muffin. I'm placing this in a tiny jar and I'm marking that jar. Used the wrong one, it's me stupid. With a rubber band. And when I see this doubled in size, then I know my dough is ready for shaping. Now, if you have issues with sticky dough, you might want to start at 50% size increase and then work your way up to 100% size increase. This also depends a little bit on the flour, at least that's what I noticed. Yeah, so just take as much as you need to cover this glass jar, place this to the side, and then when we see this doubled in size, I have to fix the rubber band, then we know, okay, we are ready for the actual shaping. So extracting this now, but now let's go back to the main dough. So it's not looking nice and round, and I like to start nice and round into my bulk fermentation. So with the dough scraper, same thing again, 45-degree angle, push and pull. You have to be a little bit faster to make sure it doesn't stick. And just look at how beautiful this dough came together. Nice round dough. So this dough is now ready for the bulk fermentation, and I'm removing it from the surface, rounding it up one more time. And now it's ready to be placed into my glass container. Gently removing the dough, and have a look. Perfect dough. This is how your dough should look like when starting bulk fermentation.
Now, if your dough is still sticky at this point, chances are you use too much water for your flour. I have a full video on figuring out the perfect amount of water for your flour. Another option could be that your sourdough starter has too much acid. The acidity negatively influences the gluten development. That's why I would recommend you to start with a 1:5 feeding ratio just to reduce the acidity. Then your fermentation starts with less acidity. Now, regardless, I would recommend you to add more flour step by step. I would add it slowly, tablespoon by tablespoon. Keep adding flour and kneading until you get this window pane effect. If you do, you're good to go. While this dough is bulk fermenting, I'm coil folding it from time to time. Let me show you how that is done.
So for coil folding, you want to make sure that you wet your hands, and only coil fold when you see that your dough spread out. I see people doing coil folds way too often. That's going to damage your crumb structure. You want to make sure that your dough is damaged as little as possible. You don't want to degas your dough. And now with my wetted hands, I'm removing the dough slightly from the edges here. And now I can go inside, I will pull the dough upwards and then fold it over. If the dough sticks, I can already place it like this and take it up one more time. So first coil fold. Now the trick is that this area here, this non-sticky area is now at the bottom. That's why I can reach below it easier without it sticking to my hands. And now I like to do this until it's almost in the middle of the dough. So I will be doing this just one more time. Perfect. Now we will be doing exactly the same thing from the other side. And note how gentle I am with the dough. I noted it started to stick a little bit, but not that much. If it sticks too much, just use a little bit more water. And what a nice jiggly dough. And now I will create a roll. And for this, the dough is now looking like this. And instead of doing the coil fold from both sides, I will just do it from one side. Note how I folded the dough over, and I'm creating basically a spiral. And now this is the hardest part. I'm taking the whole dough. This side will go here, and then I will lay the dough on top. Just a little bit sticky, but perfect. And now this dough is going to rest, and then I will shape it right out of the container. So nice and smooth, this dough.
After shaping this dough, I proof the dough at room temperature. I proof until this dough almost passes the finger poke test, and then I move this dough to the freezer. The freezer is a great hack to make it easier to score. There are other strategies as well, and I will be linking them right here. But mostly in this case, I just wanted to have the bread the same day. That's why I opted for this strategy. This was so delicious. The rye sourdough really just does such a big difference. I recommend you to try it. I love it. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. What are your tips you would consider other bakers to follow when dealing with sticky dough? If you have a cool tip, please drop it in the comment section. I'm sure you're going to be able to help a lot of other bakers. Thanks for watching, and may the gluten be with you.